Hey guys, are you curious about living in Bonaire, Georgia? Well, in this video, we're going to explore everything about Bonaire. We're going to go over a little bit of the history of Bonaire, Georgia. We're going to cover a little bit of the affordability and the cost of living. Then we're going to get into some of the things to do and places to eat. And since this is a real estate channel, of course, we can't be done without talking about the real estate market and some of the popular neighborhoods in Bonaire. And then we're going to sum it up by comparing Bonaire, Georgia to some of the surrounding cities like Macon and Perry, Georgia. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm Chris, your real estate problem solver. I've been a real estate agent and an investor for over 20 years in the middle Georgia area. So I know a little bit about the real estate market around Bonaire, Georgia. So in this video, we're going to tell you everything we have about Bonaire, and then you can decide if living in Bonaire is best for you and your family. So this video isn't going to take very long. Bonaire is not a very big town. I think it's about a population of about 5,600 people total. And Bonaire is not an incorporated town. It's kind of interwoven with one of Robins, Georgia. So with that said, where is Bonaire? Well, the easiest way to find Bonaire is to look for Warner Robins. So if you know where Atlanta is, you're going to take I-75 south to the Warner Robins exits and you're going to head east. When you get on I-96, everything south of I-96 from about Houston Lake Road to Highway 247 and a little bit past 247 towards Jeffersonville, those areas are Bonaire. So a little bit of history of Bonaire, of course, like I said, Bonaire is an unincorporated town. It's kind of been interwoven with Warner Robins, so there's really not much there. But Bonaire blew up in around 1998 when the C-5 Galaxy was brought up from Kelly Air Force Base to Robins Air Force Base and became the new depot hub for C-5. With that brought an extra 5,000 or 6,000 people into the area to support the weapons system. And with that, the population of Warner Robins started overflowing, and of course, naturally, they moved down to the Bonaire area, which means from 1998 on till now, Bonaire has been steadily growing. That means that most of Bonaire is fairly new. You're not going to find much historical structures or historical buildings in Bonaire. So if you're looking for new construction, if you're looking for nicer new houses, Bonaire is going to be the place to be. Now, to give you some idea of some of the commute times from Bonaire, Georgia, let's look at Atlanta Airport. Getting to Atlanta Airport is going to take you about an hour and a half. If you're going to Savannah, Savannah is going to be about a 3-hour trip. And then, of course, if you want to cut corners and go to the Middle Georgia Regional Airport, that's about 20 minutes away up on the north side of Warner Robins, just south of Macon. Now, normally this would be where we would go to niche.com and kind of give you an overview of the report card based on Bonaire, Georgia. But since Bonaire is an unincorporated town, they don't have any stats on it. But what they do have stats on is a school system. So if you're a parent, one of the big things that you're going to be worried about is where and how to get your kids in school. Well, Bonaire Ed's good report cards on their school system. You've got Bonaire Elementary, you've got Bonaire Middle School, you've got Huntington Middle School, you've got Houston County High School, you've got Veterans High School, and all of them are showing A's and B report cards for all stats. So if you're worried about your kids getting a good education, don't be. All right, so now that the kids are taken care of in school, it's time for the adults to play, right? Got you covered. So like I said, Bonaire's not a big area, but they do have Rocco's Bar, which is a great nightlife hangout. They got snacky foods, plenty of drinks. And on Saturday nights, you can get your song on with some karaoke. If you're looking for something for the kids to do, you've got Drop and Play indoor playground for the kids on Highway 96. And then a little farther down, you've got Rigby's Entertainment Center. Now, if you're looking for the whole family to have some fun outside, you've also got Ted Wright Park on Moody Road, which is an open park, playground, splash pad, and pickleball courts. Now, I've got another video all about the parks and recreation centers all around the Middle Georgia area right here, so take a look at it too. Now, once you get done having all your fun, then you're probably going to go find something to eat, right? Well, Bonaire can definitely cover you on that one, If nothing else, Bonaire has a wide selection of restaurants and eateries to stop in and get a little bite of something. Starting off with Saigon Noodle off of 247. And in the same little shopping center, you've also got Two Guys in a Pie Pizza House. Or if you're looking for some Mexican cuisine, they've also got La Cabana in that same strip mall. And speaking of pizza, they've also got Johnny's New York style pizza next to the Kruger Shopping Center over off of House and Lake Road and 96. Now in that same center is going to be where you're going to find your Marco's Pizza, your Margaritaville Mexican restaurant, and Jimmy John sandwiches. Now if you're looking for a little more fine dining, then you've also got across the street on the north side of 96, Props Steakhouse and Seafood. Now, as of this video, like I said, Bonaire has blown up in population due to overflow from Warner Robins. So they've got a wide variety of, you've got car washes, you've got urgent care, you've got Kroger's and Publix, you've got eye care centers, you've got dental offices. So you pretty much got all the bases covered. Oh, and don't forget the daycare. There's about a half a dozen daycare centers all across Bonaire. So if you've got to take off for your job and you need some place for the kids to stay, there's plenty of those to choose from. So now that we've got all the bases covered with the amenities, now you need a place to live, right? Well, let's get started with popular neighborhoods in Bonaire. Now, Bonaire's entire area is under the 31005 zip code. So all the Bonaire houses that we're looking at are going to be under the zip code 31005. Now the median rate, like I said at the time of this video, the median price houses for Bonaire are currently around $350,000. Now the average of all houses being sold in Bonaire is more like around 250, 240. So that kind of gives you an idea on where the price ranges are going. All right, so let's look at some of the most popular neighborhoods in Bonaire and see if these are some houses that you want to make offers on. First one is going to be the South Bend subdivision. Now, this is kind of a smaller subdivision of all brick houses. They're on a third of an acre lot, so there's a little bit of room there. You got a good backyard. These are 3 and 4 bedroom houses, and they're running between 2,500 to 3,800 square feet per house. At the time of this video, South Bend houses are selling anywhere from $350,000 to $450,000. All right, so if we move a little bit across Old Perry Road to the other side of the street, we're going to run into Blue Ridge subdivision. Now, this first road, Adirondack, has the front section and then the back section. You've got the first section up front, which was built before COVID, and then you've got the back section, which was built after COVID. You'll see the difference when you drive into it. Now, the front section of Blue Ridge subdivision are mostly 22 to 3,000 square foot houses. These are on quarter acre lots. These are hardy board exterior houses, and they're 2-story, and they're averaging about 4 bedrooms. No, they're not averaging. They are 4 bedrooms. And at the time of this video, sales prices for these houses are running between $300,000 to $360,000. Now, it just so happened that they were kind of starting on the second half of the neighborhood around the same time that COVID came through, which of course changed the market and what people could afford. So the second half of Blue Ridge subdivision is going to be mostly 1-story houses, 3-bed, 2-bath, on a little less than a quarter acre lots with vinyl siding. And these houses are currently running between $250,000 to $300,000. Now, they did start around right after COVID, but they are still building on right now. So there's still probably about a dozen to 2 dozen houses that are still under construction right now. So if you really want to be the first one to live in a new home, well, there you go. Give me a call. We can go take a look at them and see if you want to make an offer on any of them. Now, if you want to live in a bigger neighborhood, let's go all the way over to the other end of Bonaire out on Thompson Mill Road. Now, this area has got one of the more established neighborhoods all the way up to new construction, and that would be Southfield Plantation. Now, Southfield Plantation starts right around Bonaire Primary School and heads south on Thompson Mill Road all the way to the very end where the newest houses are. And when I say variety, I mean it. The first houses in Southfield Plantation started around 1994, 1995, and they were 2,100 to 2,800 square foot houses on third of an acre to half an acre lots, anywhere from brick to vinyl siding to stucco. Now, if you go farther south, you got all the way up to new construction that's being finished right now on Colton Road, as a matter of fact. And these houses are all the way up to 4 and 5,000 square feet, 5 and 4 bedroom houses, brick, hardy board, and vinyl siding. And these are running anywhere from $400,000 to $700,000, depending on the model. Most of these are custom homes, and they're usually on about a third of an acre to almost 3/4 of an acre, except for one particular one way in the back, which has already been taken, and it's huge. And that one's running around 1.2, 1.4 million. So if I piqued your interest and you might want to make an offer on a house in Bonaire, look at the link below in the description. It'll go to our website that shows you all the homes for sale in Bonaire, Georgia. Now, of course, keep in mind, this is just a little tidbit just to pique your interest. If you want to get more information about homes for sale in the Middle Georgia area, make sure to go to our playlist of home tours, and you'll see all the houses in Middle Georgia, Bonaire, Kathleen, that are available for you to buy. Okay, so now your next question is, well, what about the cost of living in Bonaire, Georgia? Well, as Bonaire is an unincorporated town and it's right next door to Warner Robins, Kathleen, Warner Robins, Bonaire, they're all going to have pretty much the same cost of living. Right now, as of this video, the gas prices, for comparison, are running between about $2.75 to $2.95 a gallon. So Bonaire and Middle Georgia is still extremely competitive when it comes to the cost of living. Like I said, gas prices between $2.75 to $2.90 a gallon. Meat prices are kind of high, but the reports that I'm getting are coming straight from Texas, which is cheaper because it doesn't have to travel nearly as far. And building supplies and housing in general is going to be cheaper in the Middle Georgia area. Price per square foot is still, in the Middle Georgia area, is lower than comparable areas around like Savannah or Atlanta or even Columbus. Now, my kids have grown up and moved away and done their own thing and living their own life. But from what I do understand from my friends on the base at Robins Air Force Base, the cost of living on child care itself is about as comparable to Savannah or Atlanta. So there's not much of a discount on child care. But like I said, housing prices and actually the taxes, property taxes, are still pretty competitive compared to other areas. All right, so with all this new real estate coming into Bonaire, Georgia, you would think that they would stack up pretty well against places like Macon, Perry, Warner Robins. Well, yes and no. Because like I said, if you're preferring to buy a house that's newer, less than 20 years old, then Bonaire is going to place to be. Because it is, you can't really tell the difference between Bonaire, Warner Robins, and Kathleen because they're all kind of intermixed together. So if you're buying into Bonaire, you're buying into Warner Robins, you're buying into Kathleen. So you get the best of all three. So if Bonaire had to stand alone by itself, it would be worse than Smallville. Now, of course, as a whole, Bonaire stacks up pretty good because of the sister towns that are right next to it. But compared to, let's say, Macon, well, let's look at the crime rate. Bonaire has got a stellar record in the crime rate department because, like I said, it's a newer neighborhood. It's got Warner Robins PD covering it, and Macon is an older established area, and it does have some rundown parts that have got some higher crime rates. And again, since Bonaire is one of the newer, it's got the newer schools, Veterans High School, Warner Robins High School gets a little bit of Bonaire, and also Houston County High School District feeds into a little bit of Bonaire's area. Now, Perry might be a little bit of a different story. Perry is starting to turn into a small Warner Robins, which is great for them because they're growing and establishing, but eventually it's going to end up getting out of the small town feel and end up being pretty much like Warner Robins in Atlanta. Now, Bonaire is a little bit more secluded. Bonaire's primary zoning is residential, so there's not a whole lot of commercial. There's not the most of the commercial districts for Bonaire is going to be along Highway 96. So you've got pretty much a lot of neighborhoods and a lot of community. So that's one thing that's really attractive about Bonaire's area. Now again, it won't stack up to Macon or Perry because it doesn't have the population, and it couldn't stand alone without one of Robins and Kathleen. So if you want something that's a little bit more hometown feel or a little bit more nostalgia, Perry would be a good place to go. Macon would be a good place to go. Bonaire is, like I said, pretty much the sister sub-town to Warner Robins. And Warner Robins is getting pretty big. As a matter of fact, we've got a few people that have moved to Perry and Hawkinsville because it was getting too big for its britches, and they still like the small town feeling, which Warner Robins and that area is starting to lose. Well, I hope you found this video helpful and useful. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me. My information is in the description below. And make sure that when you move to Bonaire, Georgia, you look me up and we'll help you get the house that you want. I'll talk to you on the next video.